And tonight we are joined by a very special guest, the lovely Aimi MacDonald. It's great to have you here.
Hello. Lovely to be here.
And I'm joined by Cliff Harris, who is going to be posing some lovely questions to the lovely Aimi tonight as well.
Okay.
I know, because I love the show, last 1958 show. I know that you were on that. But what I don't know much about is your beginnings when you grew up.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, I grew up in Scotland. I was born in Glasgow, and I was brought up in Ayrshire, but I did go to school in Glasgow. And I also, at the same time as so I went to a girls' school that was very, very much like years later when I played Miss Jean Brodie, right? I didn't have a very difficult time with that, because that's the sort of school I went to. And one of my teachers, the French teacher, was so like her. So it was a piece of cake. Also, I could do the accent, you see. So anyway, I grew up there. And with my schooling, I did ballet. I was ballet trained, quite sort of serious ballet. I think my mother thought I would blossom into another Margot Fontaine, okay? But later on, I had a different idea. I would rather blossom into the Sid Charisse sort of person. So I used to skive off and go to modern dance classes and all of that stuff. Anyway, that was my background, yes. And I joined a modern ballet company when I was very young. Gosh, I was about 16. And we went to Paris, and then we went to Las Vegas, and then I came back to London, 1963, and then got into a musical called On the Town, when, that was my first show in London. And that was lovely. It was an American show, so I was used to working with American choreographers, so it was lovely. The dancing was really good. And I got a little part in that because, very strange, but when I auditioned for the show, the choreographer and the director was a guy called Clayton, and he thought I looked like the girl that played a part on Broadway, see? And so he asked me to read. I was there auditioning as a dancer. In those days, we called them wallopers. So I was walloping like crazy on the stage. And he went, stop, I'd like that girl to read, okay? And then on comes the script. And I just read it. And then that was my first part. So in the show, but in those days, it was so, work was there the whole time. We never, ever stopped. One time, I remember I was doing a show, I was doing a nightclub, and I was doing a telly all at the same time.
Wow.
It was amazing. This was in the 60s, just amazing. I feel so sorry for kids now, coming out of drama school. It must be awful. This pandemic, and all that training and all that hard work, and there's no jobs. It's frightening, very scary. Anyway, that was my background. I don't want to get maudlin, because I know you want me to be funny.
You do, please.
If possible, I'll try to be funny without a script.
Oh, I'm sure you'll do it well. So I was quite young when the last of the 1948 show came out. How did you actually get involved? How did you get the part?
You see, when I look back on those days, I was jolly lucky. There's an expression in the business to be in the right place at the right time and be seen by the right person. You see, and that happened to me because one of the jobs I was doing, I was telling you about, was I was a soubrette in a nightclub in Bond Street, and this is, you know, soubrette. I don't know if you know what a soubrette is, but anyway,
guessing.
It's a singer dancer, and she does a bit of comedy as well. You see, so that's what I was doing. And one night, in comes Timbert Taylor and Marty Feldman, and I can't remember if John was there. I think he was, and those two were definitely there. And afterwards, they asked me if I'd like to come along and do a pilot with them for a new show that they were doing, and that was at last the 1948 show. Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how that happened. You know, I mean, if I hadn't been working in that club at that time, this is the point I'm making, you know, I probably would never have done that show.
Yeah.
So you know, it's very important that to be in the right place at the right time in showbiz.
Yes. So did you get to know the cast quite well with Tim Brooke Taylor and John Cleese and all the others?
Oh gosh, yes. Oh yes, it was, yeah. Oh, they were a laugh. But you see, they had all come from a sort of university setup, right? And you know, I'd come from musical theatre, you know, so it was like, I remember watching them in rehearsals because the first series we did, I wasn't the only girl. They had other girls coming, and there was another girl would pop in every week, you know. And that's how the Lovely thing came about, by the way, was I just said to John one day, you know, another new girl came in, and I said to him in a flippant way, I said, I don't care, I am the loveliest, you see. Oh. So that was in the script. So when these girls, you know, each week there was another girl added, and at the opening of the show, we all had to say our names, and I was the last one. And of course, you know, they would say Susie Snoops or whatever it was, blah, 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 blah. And I said, and I'm Amy, and I'm the loveliest. That's how that stuck. I wasn't really the loveliest, but that's, you know, that was how that happened. And it just stuck, you know?
Yeah, it definitely stuck. It definitely stuck. Especially when you sung the song, We Love the Lovely Aimi MacDonald.
Oh, golly, I do remember that. Oh, my goodness.
Yes. It's very good.
Oh, my, yeah.
That bit stuck with me. That bit stuck with me.
Yes, but do you know what? What happened was I would go in, because the second series, it was just me. I don't know what happened to the other ladies, but it was just me. And every week I would go in there and I'd have nothing to do because they didn't give me the script until the Thursday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm sitting around just, you know, making a nuisance of myself, really. And like, for example, this was one of them. And there's a piano there. I don't play the piano. Well, I play a bit by ear, but very badly, you know. And I'm sort of sitting at the piano one day, and I'm going, I think I was doing Swan Lake, you know, da, 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 da. Well, that script the next week was me at the piano, you see. And of course, somebody had gone, you know, I la lovely, and that was the song sheet. Do you remember?
That's it.
Yes.
It's quite funny, actually. It was funny, yeah. But that's what happened to me. So on the Thursday, and I would say things to John, and that would be in the script. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
That was another one. Do you know what I mean? I say that all the time. Do you know what I mean, darling? And he cottoned on to that. You see. So he would, you know, I'd say something in the script, and then after I would say, "Do you know what I mean, darling?" You know. So that became a sort of catchphrase.
Wow! Can you still remember the?
So they didn't have to work very hard with me, did they?
Just take whatever you said and write it down.
We did have a lot of fun, but it was before We used to do them live, you know.
Really?
This was live television.
Oh,
I know.
wow.
I mean, when I think about it now, my God, I come out in a cold sweat. I mean, this was all live. And one of the things they used to do to me, because I would have this spot on my own, and there was an idiot board, right? You know, we didn't have auto cue. It was an idiot board. And they used to write terrible things on it.
You ever say that?
You can imagine.
I mean, sometimes I couldn't, you know, I had to, you know, in the end, I'd just dissolve into a heap of giggles, you know, because some of it was very, very naughty. I won't tell you, but it was very naughty. And of course, I had to say something quite different.
Can you still
So
remember
there you
that
go.
rather?
That's the in secret.
Oh, that's we want to know. So can you still, are you able to give us a rendition possibly for Lovely Aimi MacDonald?
You want me to do that now?
Would you?
Oh, right. I've really got to get the key. Right. I love the lovely Aimi MacDonald. I love the lovely Aimi MacDonald. I love the lovely Aimi MacDonald. I love the lovely Aimi MacDonald.
Hey.
Hooray!
Brilliant.
Difficult to learn that.
I know. Could you remember the lines?
All those words.
The funny thing was they had a board behind you, didn't they, with the words on?
Yeah.
I was going to ask you the clothes you wore, because you had some quite glamorous clothes. Were they your own clothes?
The clothes, I know. They did dress me up in sort of, I know, and I remember there's a lot of feather boas flying around.
Yeah,
as well.
we've got that behind you. Look, there's a picture of you here. Look.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah, and do you know what I did? Oh, I've got it somewhere. It was for rediffusion. You
That's
know,
right, yeah.
David Frost was the producer, and then rediffusion sort of faded out. And for the last 6 months of their existence, they asked me to do a calendar. Okay, so I've got this calendar, you know, January, February, up until June, I think they stopped. And then, or is it the other way around? No, so I think it's from June up. Oh yeah, because December, yeah. It's just because all the photographs are of long shots with the feather boards and all the glamorous costumes, and then the last shot is just you know, the face and a teardrop. It's quite sweet actually, and it's just a little teardrop. So bye rediffusion.
Oh. What was the last show like on the 1948 show? Was that a sad show?
No, because I think we were all going elsewhere. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't. It wasn't like being in a stage show where you really do get into each other, you know, because you rely on each other so much. It's that. Remember, I was out of it really. You know, I never did their sketches. In fact, a lot of the time I used to watch the sketches and think, what are they doing? You know, what is that all about? You know, I've got a ferret sticking up my nose. You know, I was sitting there going, what's that?
There was some bizarre stuff.
So, you know,
my friend and I used
we
to
all went, and they
sketches.
of course went on to do the pythons, didn't they? Well, Tim didn't. I didn't, and somebody else.
Tim went on to the goodies, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. And I went into the theatre again. I went back to the theatre.
Do you still keep in touch with John Cleese?
No, we've sort of lost touch. I know. That would have been nice, but no, darling, because he kept marrying people, didn't he? And I don't know. He wasn't supposed to talk to any other women.
Just a few women.
He's got his act together now, though, hasn't he?
He has. I keep saying one last question. I don't know where it was recorded a lot of the 1948 show. Where was it? Where was the studio?
The rediffusion.
Hmm.
Where was it now? I think it was Elstree, wasn't it?
Was
No.
it?
No, it wasn't. No.
Was it where? It wasn't where Thames Television was it? Euston Road.
Teddington.
Teddington.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Teddington. That's right.
Because that
Yeah.
became Thames, didn't it? After that.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
now
right.
it's now like a load of houses now. They knocked it down a little while back as well, didn't they?
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything changes, doesn't it?
Talking about your Elstree days, myself and Cliff, we are big fans of the Avengers, and you was in an episode of the Avengers.
Oh, that's right. That was my first sort of straight part, actually, on television. That's right.
Yeah, you obviously started, like a lot of the scenes you had was quite flirtatious scenes with the character who played John Steed, Patrick McNeely. Was he like a true gentleman like he was in the Avengers? Was he like that in real life?
I found Patrick, what was his name? Patrick
McNeely, yeah.
That's right. I found him quite sort of a bit scary, you know.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he was quite grand. And
Yeah.
I was, you know, like, it wasn't, I didn't find him very warm. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So he wasn't a person you could sort of approach. And anyway, I only had a little part, so he didn't really want much to do with me. I played the secretary.
That's right. That's right.
An episode of, what was it called?
There was
Cybernaut.
a Cybernaut, that's it. And he swiped you like that as he was going in the door, and you got knocked back and you started screaming.
I know. Yeah. I know. And I did something on that show that taught me a very big lesson, I tell you, because what happened there, one day, I had a body double, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Who a stunt girl, that was it. It was a stunt girl who had to do this thing with the cybernaut, you see? Now, this day, they're going to shoot it. The stunt girl had an accident, and I don't know what she did, but she couldn't come in, right? So the director's going mad because, oh my God, you know, we've lost the stunt girl. So Muggins, right, said, "Don't worry, darling, I'll do it." You know, because I'm thinking, I'm a dancer. I can do that. It's just timing, you know. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you know. And I thought, I can do that. Wrong.
And you landed.
Oh my goodness.
Well, didn't you?
Oh no, it was like take 102, you know. And at one point, I remember I was wearing a watch. I kept landing on this flat thing. And I was wearing a watch, kept digging into my wrist. I was drawing blood. And this little nurse kept rushing up to the set and mopping me up. And then it was another take and another take. And I thought, after that, do you know what? I'll never, ever do that again. You know, being the big benevolent, you know, I'll help you out, dear. You know, no way.
And obviously, after that, you obviously went on to star with Roger Moore in The Saint. Now, was that a completely different experience to filming The Avengers?
Yes, that was. It was actually, although Roger was The Saint, it was
a film version of it. Vendetta for The Saint.
Vendetta for a Saint.
Yeah.
That's right. And I played this sort of gangster's mole person, you know, a sort of, I remember the character was very like, I did a stage version of Born Yesterday.
Yeah.
And the character was very similar, you know, sort of, you know, a bit gaga, but, you know, quite a nice person. And I had this, this gangster boyfriend played by Ian Hendry.
That's right.
Lovely actor. And that I remember that.
How
and
was
Roger was so funny.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to just say, like, what was
Everything.
Roger like? Was he was
Oh,
he
you,
was he as
everyone will tell
charming
you
as he
that.
was?
He's so funny, you know, it
Yeah.
makes you laugh all the time. He's a natural, you know. And I mean, I remember we had a scene in a car, an open car, and there was a wind machine, okay? And I don't know, I don't know if you remember, but in that film, he wore his hair with a sort of quiff in front. You know, it's like that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I had my hair sort of a bit like this actually, but kind of more of it. And there was this wind machine. Now my hair is going everywhere. and then the director would go cut, you know, and the makeup lady would come over to to the car. And because I thought she was coming to me, you see, no, she went to Roger, and she's got this little thing at the front, and he looks at me and he goes, "You can see who's the star, eh?" Do you know what I mean? That's the sort of thing he does.
So,
And then there was another scene where he had to tell me, he had to give me instructions about what to do, because he's after this boyfriend of mine, and he had to tell me of the plan. Okay, and we're standing behind this pillar, and he's, you know, talking to me like this, you know, that's the shot, and I'm listening, you know, and I'm going, you know, right, I'm trying to get it all in and everything. And then before before that happened, he'd tell you one of his jokes, right? And you start to laugh. Well, naughty Roger, you see, he could turn it off like that, but he'd leave you hysterical. Do you see what I mean? And he would turn it off, the eyebrow would go up, and he'd go
oh,
into the dialogue. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And I had my fingernails in my hand like that to stop me giggling. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, I had to do that because, and of course he could just turn it off and
Yeah.
carry on, you know.
Obviously,
So, yeah.
obviously, a lot of it looked like it was filmed at Elstree. A lot of the location work was done in, like, I think, well, it's meant to be Naples in Italy. Was you on location, or was all your scenes at Elstree for the same?
No, we did go on vacation. Oh yeah, but I remember there was one scene where we were both a little bit ticked off because they took the understudy people to the south of France for this
Oh,
thing in the car, and we did it in the studio. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
That they got to go to the south of France. It was
Oh,
I think it was one of those motorways that go round, and
yeah,
we
that's
saw
it.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that wasn't us.
what was a typical day at Elstree like, turning up for filming and that? What would you have to do before going on set and filming your scenes? Was there a lot of involvement? Was it a full day's work, or?
Yeah, you know, yes, it was quite hard work. Yes, you know, it was a long day. You know, you had to get in there. And I remember I was living in Ascot at the time, so I had to drive there. It was quite a long drive, and it was a long day.
Yeah,
But it was fun, and everybody was lovely on it. So
yeah,
and doing what you like to do. Nothing's hard work if you're enjoying what you do, is it?
yeah. No, that's
So,
it. When you was
yeah,
filming the Avengers, did you?
this Return of the Cybernaut.
That's
That's what
it. Yes, right. Did you meet Diana Rigg? And did you also meet the special guest Peter Cushing in the episode, or was that on a different day's filming?
Oh,
Or
Peter Cushing. Oh no, but he and he's a lovely little
yeah,
man. He was so nice, and I don't remember meeting him on that. I think my scene was separate from
yeah,
everybody.
yeah. He
But
was a special guest, I think, on that
I did a
episode.
chat show with him. Now, who was that? Eamon Andrews, I think it was, one of
Amy Andrews.
those. Um, oh, he was so lovely, and we were both in the same hotel. It was done for up north somewhere, and I mean, Peter Cushing. Then I mean, was a big star in films. He had done a lot of films, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, you know, I wasn't, you know, I was still kind of a bit naive. And I'm there and I'm thinking, oh, I'm a bit nervous because it was the first chat show that I'd done. And I thought we'd arranged to meet each other in the sort of coffee bar place. And I got there first, you know, because I was a bit nervous. And then I'm waiting for him, and I had the coffee there. And in he comes, carrying a little box.
Oh, what was in
and
the
he
box?
comes in like that. And my goodness, he was worse than me. He sat down and he said, oh my goodness, Amy. He said, I'm so nervous. He said, oh, you've got to help me with this. I thought, what? And then I said, what's in the little box? And bless his heart, it was his hair.
Oh.
And he was carrying his hair. Oh, wasn't that sweet?
Yeah.
And he was darling man.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's great. Well, did you meet Dinah Rigg that time when you done the Avengers? Did you see her as well?
Diana, I didn't know.
No, right.
You know, my scene was set.
Yeah, I did know that. I just wondered if she was on
Yeah.
set somewhere and you met her. And okay, that's fine. Yeah, okay.
No, I didn't actually. No, not really. No, we might have passed each other on the set.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful to know that, actually, because being a big fan of the Saint and of obviously the Avengers, it's so good to ask these questions, and it's, you know.
Oh, and she was wonderful in it, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. I think she's everyone's favourite, wasn't she? I think, you know.
Oh yes, and so athletic and everything.
Have you got a favourite comedian or a comedy show that you watch these days that you or past comedy show you like?
Gavin and Stacey.
Oh,
I love that show. That I just think that is one of my favourites. I just love that show. You know, and they're all so good in it, aren't they? You know, they're all marvellous. And what's her name? The little girl that plays Stacey. She's absolutely adorable. You know.
Do you have a favourite actor or actress that you're keen on?
A favourite? Oh golly, no, I can't think of an actress. I mean, I watch things on television now. I go, oh my goodness, God, they're so good. You know. You know, there's not very seldom do you look at something and say, oh, he's a bit naff, you know. You know, they're all very good. I mean, you do, but I'm not going to tell you that one.
I know you did a few little comedy shows, which I think Cliff's going to ask you about now, that you did with one of his favourite comedians, actually. So I'll hand over to Cliff, because I bet he's poised to ask this question.
Do you remember working with Kenny Everett on his show?
Kenny Everett, yes, I can't remember. What did I do with him? I think I did a sketch or something.
I think he was only in like one episode, I think, but it's one of Cliff's favourites. He loves.
I used to love Kenny Everett.
Is Kenny your favourite?
Me, yes.
I
used to love listening to him on the radio, and then because he went on to TV and you were on there. But did you ever sort of have a conversation with him or get to know him at all?
Not really, no. You know, sometimes when you do sketches with these people, you're sort of in and out, and you know, it's not like, oh, let's all go out to dinner. You know, it's not like that. No. You have to know what you're doing. You know, with it in television, you can't be waffling around. You know, you sort of go in, you do it. You know, and you hit your mark and all of that business. I once did a show with a lovely guy who, at that point, he was in a soap and he was late. You know, he'd done an awful lot of soap, and he suddenly comes into the theatre. Okay, and does this. It's an Anthony Schaefer play, sort of comedy thriller. And bless his heart, on the stage, you know, he suddenly gets on the stage and he thinks he can move around and do whatever he wants, you know, because he's on the stage now. He's not. He hasn't got a little white mark that he's got to hit to say his line and all of that stuff, is it? And so often you turn around to say something to him, but he wouldn't be there. Be over there. And that's, that's an example of switching from one to the other.
Yes. I'm told that TV and film work is very different than being on the stage when you're filmed.
Oh, yes. Yes. I remember that the very first film I did, was constantly being told the director would tell me, I want half of that, because I was too big, and he kept saying, what, half of that? So, and I remember feeling at the time, I do absolutely nothing. I'm just saying the lines, and, it's a weird feeling, that first one.
Yeah. Can you remember the first time you ever did anything? Was that professionally on stage? Was that for TV? Was that Last 1948 show your first professional?
Yeah, the 48 show was my first telly. Yeah. That's right. But would you believe, I just thought, did I? No, it was after that. No, it was before that. Because when I did the 48 show, I didn't have a television, at home. I didn't have one. And I didn't know what was happening out there in the big bad world. You see. And I remember the first show we did, and I would go shopping the next day. And of course, I was instantly recognizable. And people would come up and say, "Oh, it's you!" I mean, it was so scary. That
famous overnight.
And of course, I didn't because I didn't, and I never saw them either. I never saw the shows. It's a weird feeling that, because you just, as an entertainer, you go from one medium to another. It's a job. What's the next job? And you don't think of it as a sort of. I mean, the 48 show for me was great because it did put me, like, as my mother would say, on the map. But that was all really. But
do you ever watch yourself?
But I remember that. Yes.
Do you ever watch yourself? Do you look at DVDs or shows that you?
I don't like watching myself. Oh my goodness, no. And I'm not. Excuse me. I'm not alone like that. I know there's other actors. People go to rushes. Oh my goodness, I couldn't do that. No, because if I saw myself do something stupid, I would never work again. And then if I saw myself doing something marvelous, I'd probably think I was so blooming marvelous. I'd cock it up anyway. So I don't want to know. You've got a director that tells you what to do and tells you, what's going on. You don't need to look at Russian. No.
Out of all the everything you've done, what is your favourite appearance in something you've filmed?
I think, you see, I'm a theatre lady, really.
Yeah.
I love live theatre. I love musical theatre. That was really where I sort of grew up. But my favourite part, I think, had to be Jean Brody.
Oh, nice.
And I did, if I say so myself, I did it quite well. And I got some rather nice notices.
Yeah.
But it was easy for me, like I said before, it was wonderful. The only part that I hadn't done that I would have loved to have done was Guys and Dolls, Adelaide.
Oh, Guys and Dolls.
Yeah.
And
the National Theatre invited me to do it with Laurence Olivier.
Oh.
And then Laurence Olivier had a heart attack and we never did it.
Oh.
I know.
That would have been the moment, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, that was Adelaide was always my gem. Yeah, but never mind. I could play Adelaide's mother now, couldn't I?
Oh well, you still are the lovely Amy MacDonald, though, aren't you?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, you could play any part.
Thank you.
I don't know what you describe it as. One woman show? Is that what you would describe?
My one woman show. Yes. Oh, I think you've seen my one woman show, Cliff.
I've seen it about 4 times. Yeah.
I think you have. Yeah. Did you like it?
I did,
'Cause
and you made me sing on it as well once.
Yeah, it's it was my
I've got to see
partner's
this.
idea. You know Michael, don't you? My partner.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, this was his idea way back. Because I was mucking about in the kitchen one day, and he said, "You know what?" He said, "You should do a show." And then I thought, "Do you know what? Quite fancy that." So it just kind of went from there.
Yeah. And I keep hoping you're going to include your "I'm the Lovely Aimi MacDonald" song in it at the end, as a brilliant finish. I think you've resisted that so far.
Yeah. I think, didn't you come to? I did a show as well with the Jive Aces. That
Yes.
lovely band.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that.
The Jive band. Oh, they're fabulous. Yeah, I did a little spot with them, didn't I?
You did, and I did it.
I think you were
got
there,
video.
Cliff. I think you were, yeah.
I've got it on video somewhere.
Yeah, it's lovely. It was a charity evening, wasn't it?
That's right.
For the Children's Trust, yes.
So is this after this pandemic's finished? Are you going to continue that show? Are you going to do more of them?
If I'm asked, it's
Me and Cliff would love to be
wait
there.
till
We'll
you're
be there.
asked.
We'll be there.
We're booking up tickets
We'll book
already.
it up. We'll book it up.
Okay.
You can do it for us.
But I loved doing this. My favourite venue in London was the Pizza Express.
Yes, I remember that. It was the
Pheasantry.
King's
Oh,
Road,
it's
isn't
such
it?
a nice room it was a lovely room, very sort of cosy, intimate, I like that.
Yes. Yeah, that was the King's Road, if I remember. I actually missed the last train home that day because we were talking.
No!
Yeah,
Did
I was
you?
talking
Oh.
to
Did you
some
have
of
to
your
walk all the way
friends.
home, Cliff?
No. Do you know what? It's a
Oh.
long story, but basically I ended up on the night bus and then ended up at King's Cross most of the night because I couldn't get home without paying about £100 for the taxi. So
I feel terrible. That's it. Just because you came to see me.
Oh, but come on,
worth it.
It worth it, exactly. Yeah, it's got to be worth it.
Was it worth it?
Yes,
It must
definitely,
be.
100%.
It's got to be worth it, isn't it? Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, bless you.
It's been lovely speaking to you, Amy, and it's been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's been my pleasure too. Lovely talking to both of you.
Yeah, and we wish you all the best, and we look forward to seeing that one-woman show after the pandemic is finished, and we'll be there.
Thank you very much. And your friends.
We will. But yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
Amy, and the lovely Aimi MacDonald, everyone. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you. Lots of love. Bye.